This audio recording was made possible by organizations working together for people, not profit.
What do you when the day is through? Are you running through the fire, jumping hoops, stuck in neutral zones, waiting for a sign? Someone to tell us it'll be just fine. You can feel it weighing on your bones, even calling when you're all alone, and you only wanna feel at home again. Caught up in the traffic, caught up in the traffic, trying to get past it. Caught up in the traffic. There's a green light telling you to go, but you listen to the sirens on the radio. It's a fast life, but you're moving slow. Do you stay in your lane or do you learn to grow? You can feel it weighing on your bones, even calling when you're all alone, and you only wanna feel at home again. Caught up in the traffic, caught up in the traffic, trying to get past it. Caught up in the traffic. You can feel it weighing on your bones, either calling when you're all alone, and you only wanna feel at home again. Caught up in the traffic, caught up in the traffic, trying to get past it. Caught up in the traffic, caught up in the traffic, trying to get past it. Caught up in the baby out your zone.
We are in a climate emergency.
We've seen the great global flickering, these extreme weather events. This looks like flickering which precedes.
Bang, 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 chitty, I'm a big problem. Tyga man in this bitch, Vince Lombardi. Super Bowl ring, rolling red Ferraris. 100,000 win the day, I don't say sorry. Money always on time, never tardy. Yeah, we eating over here, Chris Farley. RP to the haters, yeah, we on the stage. Shout out to the DJ.
What about the people who are Mr. Prime? What about the people who have nowhere to live?
We have to move rapidly.
It's a birthday. Everybody, get naughty. Everybody, get naughty. Everybody, get naughty. Everybody, get naughty. Never wear suit like Steve Harvey. Never wear tie like Charles Barkley. But I'm celebrating cause I got money on me. Young money on me. Lock low shoes. 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah, we in the party. We don't buy shots, bottles by the case. We up in here shining, shout out to the DJ. Throw some money at the haters, put your drinks up. Middle finger in the air, if you don't give a fuck. Young money in this bitch, look the other way. Cause we celebrating like it's a birthday. Everybody, keep it getting naughty. 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 Now everybody in the building, hands go up. And they stay there. Hot shit, dope nigga made in the 80s. Riding with the rocket like old for my great ass. Nigga payment, yellow gold on my color. Pop up in that Viper, that's a bad mother sucker. All the hoes lovers, $250,000 in a day. Shout out to the DJ. Throw some money at the haters, put your drinks up. Middle finger in the air, if you don't give a fuck. Young money in this bitch, look the other way. Cause we celebrating like it's a birthday. Everybody, keep it getting naughty. Everybody, keep it getting naughty. Everybody, keep it getting naughty. Everybody, keep it getting naughty.
We are young people from the Just Stop Oil Coalition who are calling out our government's continued contempt for our planet and our lives. We are engaging in civil resistance against our leaders who are pouring petrol on the flames of this crisis. If we do not act now, these new leaders and history of creativity will be completely obsolete. We are young people. It's the
Cause we celebrating like it's a birthday.
Two of my friends are upstairs in that gallery, glued to the frame of a painting called My Heart is in the Island. The artwork is hugely influential and very rich. It should not be up to teenagers and 20-year-olds to take on this enormous challenge alone. We need you, all of you. We will not give up on our future, and neither should you. So please join us, take us higher, please, because we all have power collectively to do something about this. Thank you for listening to me.
Norske myndigheter sier forrådige Når myndighetene deler ut nye oljelettelser i dag, så vil det si at de forestiller seg å åpne nye oljeprosjekter over 15 år. Det er så lang tid det kommer til å ta før olje de leter i dag pumpes opp. Så de planlegger at Norge skal være oljenasjon i 2027 når jeg er 47 år gammel. Jeg trenger at mine myndigheter viser at de er i stand til å forholde seg til realiteten av situasjonen. Myndighetene har makten til å utsette meg for et totalt selvsnitt, men de har ikke gitt samtykke. De har makten til å utsette min generasjon for dette, men de må forvente at vi stiller til veien. Dagens kurs er mot 10 grader i vår levetid, og vi setter ned Den norske stat har fått inn i oljealderen, og det er den norske stats ansvar å ta ut. Det er på tide å stoppe oljeleting.
Kerosene keeps me warm. I'm alone to watch it
away and all the pressure brings you out.
I'm Howard Green. Recently, I was arrested and put in solitary confinement for 8 days in a maximum security. I was arrested for speaking up for the environment and the Wet'suwet'en people.
Something else I'm waiting for. With the fear inside the dark. Do not die. Walk on. It's hard to watch you roll and roll. And it's all about to think about. It's hard to watch you roll and roll. To watch you from the wall. Everything is sold. The words say nothing at all. And how to find a way to speak up when I call. When you're birthday, I'm a waste of time. You can find out on your own. Anything coming down the track is done. You can get already down. It's hard to watch you on the road. Watch you from the wall. And it's all a job to figure out. It's hard to watch you on the road. To watch you from the wall. Everything is over. Do not die.
Each one of these climate summits have failed miserably, and for the first time the world community is taking it seriously. The big question is, are we too late?
The jury has reached the verdict, and it is damning.
That's been the pondering question for everyone. I know we should all remain optimistic, and I want to remain optimistic.
But you are worried that we are too late, that somehow we've done so much damage.
That's in somebody else. The answer to that is in somebody else's hands. But we do know that the scientific community has been screaming out loud for decades, and other interests have stifled their voice and manipulated this conversation. And it's a real shame. But one thing I'm proud of, that for the first time we've seen the world community take this issue seriously. And if they hadn't, there would be absolutely no hope. We can't wait another 4 years for people to start to listen to 99% of the scientific community. I mean, it's an absurdity, and it's not about the individual anymore. It's about we. It's about we as a species, as a world community, finally coming together to make some sort of progress forward. Whether we're too late or not remains to be seen, but I'm just very happy as an environmentalist to see something happen in that direction.
You know something that I was laughing at when I was reading the news, this climate thing, that the politicians were discussing about negotiating with nature, right? Like, well, 2 degrees, no, 2 degrees and a half. Well, in 235 we will be 2 degrees, as if they can control the planet Earth system. And we experienced the difference between 1 degree and another, and it's the difference between ice and water. And when that degree fails, but we were supposed to be shooting in one location, that suddenly shooting the revenant, the difference between 1 degree and another is ice or water. And when the ice become water, they destroy the whole thing. And I saw that. So, and when they said, well, 2 degrees is acceptable, I said, really? Is acceptable? 2 degrees? I said, take a look, experience 1 degree of change. And you will then talk about that if you negotiate 2 degrees or not. So, what I'm saying is, the notion of the climate change is one, but to experience it, and the people as Leo or Obama, or the people that scientists that are traveling to these places to experience that, is a very different thing than reading in the news or just be having the statistics as these politicians.
In your personal portfolio, you engage in disinvestment now too, aren't you?
Yes.
In recommending.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important. It is the most existential human crisis that the world has ever known, in my opinion. I think that it is the biggest problem that mankind has ever had to face. We're not talking about something that is going to change in a decade or not.
And as many have said, a threat to our national security.
You are the leader of the free world. You have access to information that most people do not. What makes you terrified for the future?
A huge portion of the world's population lives near oceans. If they start moving, then you start seeing scarce resources the subject to competition between populations. This is the reason why the Pentagon has said this is a national security issue. This isn't just an environmental issue. This is a national security issue. You know, in addition to just the sadness that I would feel if my kids can never see a glacier the way I saw when I went up to Alaska. You know, that's the romantic side of me. That's the side that takes a walk with my daughters, and I want to be able for them to see, or my grandkids, I want them to see the same things I saw as I was growing up. Even if you were unsentimental about that, in very hard-headed terms, you've got to worry about the national security implications of this and the capacity for the existing world order as we understand it to survive the kinds of strains that the scientists are predicting without action. This is why we have to take action now.
I'm Amy Goodman from the Democracy Now! News Hour.
This is our last question before we have to wrap up.
Quick question, just a simple yes or no from each of you, whether you support President Trump pulling the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accord. If we could begin with Lenka.
I'm here for a reason, and that's to support climate change mitigation.
Just a quick, simple yes or no answer.
Well, the question was
whether you support President Trump pulling the United States out of the Paris Climate Accord.
No, I don't support it.
Holly?
I know you want yes or no, but our company's statement wasn't yes or no, so please just allow me to say what it is. We did not ever weigh in. There was reports actually that we weighed in both directions. Our opinion was that it's up to them. There's a lot to decide, but whether or not the U.S. is in the Paris Climate Agreement, we will continue to work on low emissions technologies for coal.
And you personally, Holly?
Gosh, I'm not really a policy person. I'm sorry, that was a cop-out. You're right. I personally, I'm not here to represent myself, so come talk to me afterwards.
Or no, are you for or against?
I'm not going to answer for my personal opinion.
I think I have the easiest task. I don't think David or Francis expect me to say anything else. I work for the Obama administration. I supported the Paris agreements, fully thought it was a great achievement for the president.
Barry Worthington, yes or no?
There's actually two answers. The U.S. Energy Association did not take a position before the president pulled out of Paris. As soon as he pulled out of Paris, we issued a statement saying that he should renegotiate Paris. From my own personal standpoint, the answer is yes because of the reasons I laid out. We're achieving the emissions reductions goals without having a regulatory burden. We're doing it for other reasons.
Francis Brook.
Thanks, Barry. Now we're going to go to
No, Francis, I'd like your response.
Can you? We're not.
Just two more people. Simple question, just yes or no.
I mean, pretty clearly, we both work for the administration, so that's who we're here to represent, and it's not going to change anything. So we're going to go.
And
to
David Banks, your final question.
So we're going to start with
yes
Barry Worthington. He's going to close for us.
I work for the President of the United States. So is it a yes or a no?
That was David Banks, White House Special Assistant for International Energy and Environment, the person we've been trying to get on the show who's been standing next to our broadcast. Before that, Francis Brook, policy aide in the office of Vice President Mike Pence. Of the four corporate representatives pushing nuclear gas and coal, two of them said they were, Lenka Kohler of New Scale Energy and Amos Hochstein of Tellurian disagreed with Trump pulling the U.S. out of this climate agreement. Holly Kretka of Peabody Wouldn't Say and Barry Worthington of the U.S. Energy Association agreed with President Trump's withdrawal. That was the final question at the Trump administration's one and only panel here at the COP23.
Hey!
It's on, my son.
hungry and she gon' find. All looking for something, all battling from inward, all needed in someone. The baby's hungry and she gon' find. All looking for something, all battling from inward, all needed in someone. The baby's hungry and she gon' find. All looking for something, all battling from inward, all needed in someone. The baby's hungry and she gon' find. All looking for something, all battling from inward, all needed in someone. The baby's hungry and she gon' find. All looking for something, all battling from inward, all needed in someone. The baby's hungry and she gon' find. All looking for something, all battling from inward, all needed in someone. Baby's hungry and she gon' find. All looking for something, all battling from inward, all needed in someone. Baby's hungry and she gon'
Anyway, walk the line. When people
Climate change protesters have been arrested after gluing themselves to the Santos building and a CBD street. Star Group officers called in to extract the women, but the Extinction Rebellion group says it already is planning more action within days.
Loaded into a paddy wagon, this protester says she won't stop until her message sticks.
At force until this stops, until fossil fuels stop.
She's one of 4 women arrested after gluing themselves to the city's Santos headquarters and Flinders Street outside, blocking lunchtime traffic and the building's main entrance.
Look, nobody who's doing this today wants to be here today. They're doing it because they feel they have no other choice.
Extinction Rebellion opposing Santos building 850 coal seam gas wells in the Tyga region of New South Wales. It wants the company to ditch all fossil fuel plants immediately.
The disruption here is nothing compared to what's coming. We are headed for disaster. It's my children, my grandchildren and their children who are under threat.
But the disruption to traffic was minimal. The protesters met with a mixed response.
I don't have any problem in that because it's midday. It's not a busiest time in the city, and this is not a busy road as well. And they are blocking only one lane.
What's your answer? You've got no answers because you've got no idea.
As coordinated as this group is, police also have their routine down. Star Group officers brought in to help remove these women from the road. Using acetone to undo the glue, and one by one, the protesters came unstuck. Tonight, 2 are charged with property damage and 2 with unreasonably obstructing the path of a driver. Today's demonstration wrapped up in just over 1 hour. They say they'll next target the office of Senator Simon Birmingham on Friday. Ashley Wick, 9 News.
We're here at the Sierra Club headquarters. My friend John has been on hunger strike for 6 days. And he wants President Biden to declare a national climate emergency or for 39 people to join us in the streets early April. We've come to Sierra Club to ask them to join us and help it so that we can feed John again. Basically, emissions have continued rising throughout the Sierra Club's entire existence. I know it's an environmental organization, it's not just climate, but climate is a huge part of it. And the fact that the emissions have continued rising, and they've only fallen in accidents, not because of Sierra Club, not because of any organization, but only fallen because of recessions or COVID, nothing intentional. It means that what we've been doing has been failing. We need to move into a sustained civil resistance model. And that's much work to get women to vote, to get Indian independence, to get civil rights. And for as good as all those things are, they pale in comparison to what's coming and what's already happening to millions of people because of the climate emergency and air pollution that comes as a result of it. John has gone 6 days without eating. I know what that's like. I've fasted at least that long myself. And it's not easy, and it's not fun, but we need to show sacrifice, and we need to show disruption, and we need Sierra Club to join us in sending that message until
I hear you on the radio. You permeate my screen. It's unkind thought. If I met you in a season fight, I'd cut off both your wings on principle alone. On principle alone. Hold open our heaven sent. There was never meant to be only one, to be only one. Hey, God, Romania, God, no Jesus, yeah, I know fucking our place was yours, and screen are you now, baby, I step down, step down, step down, step down. Step down.
Very serious.
Oh, step down.
And they had to make several obedience and had even
This audio recording was made possible by organizations working together for people, not profit.